The Astros fumble the last game. They only get 2 strikeouts from their pitchers in the first 8 innings of the ball game. Ryan Presley comes in, blows another save. We're going to talk about this and so much more in tonight's Locked On Astros.
Alvarez hits a high drive center field. Veer leans back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner. Fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
Today's episode is brought to you by Birddogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB and they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti-style tumbler with every order. And I used it when I went to Great Wolf Lodge yesterday, and it's awesome. So guys, speaking of being awesome, y'all are awesome. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Make sure you go and subscribe to us. Make us your first listen. Become an everydayer. Somebody that listens to the Locked On Astros podcast every day, whether it's on YouTube. Keep on subscribing. Make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. So this was definitely a game that was very frustrating. There's a little offense for the first, 8 innings, and then they scored 1 run because of Yainer Diaz. We'll talk about that in a second. And then the Astros have an extra innings problem. This is something that we've kind of been skirting around, but they do have an issue. Bullpen has been kind of unreliable recently, but overall it's been pretty good. I'll give you some of the stats on the season in a little bit. Christian Javier, we'll talk about his day. And Dana Brown came out and kind of discussed something that I discussed the other day about limiting Hunter Brown because he's at max. Last year, he threw 131 innings. So that's something we can discuss too. Then we'll look ahead towards their Red Series. And by the way, welcome to Las Vegas. Oakland A's, the Vegas A's. There's a lot of controversy there, a lot of he said, she said. That's a lot of stuff going on over there. But this game, Brett, was one that Astros fans are going to probably want to forget, but there's some good things, right?
Wow, you really stumped me there, Eric. Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. 3-hit game. But where was the rest of the team? Okay. Good moment. Top of the second. Guy on first and second. Stone Garrett, who's actually from the Houston area, gets up and strikes out swinging. Boom. They get to it. That actually was a second out. They kept the Nationals from scoring. Both teams had a total of 18 hits. There were no errors in the game, and there were no runs scored until the 9th inning. What baffles me is Christian Javier, Mr. Invisible himself, only had 2 strikeouts. And then after his second strikeout, there wasn't another strikeout until the 9th inning. I was like, how is that? And so I was listening to the broadcast, and Sparky and Ford were basically talking about the Nationals. They have the least amount of strikeouts of any team in Major League Baseball. Okay. The Astros actually lead the major leagues, or not lead, they're 4th in the major leagues with 9.4 Ks per 9 innings. So this is not, now look, I'm just going to say this. This is not on Ryan Presley 100%. This is on a pitching staff that didn't get the strikeouts. This is on an offense that did not hit the ball. And when they hit the ball, they did not convert the hits into runs. This was a top to bottom loss. Everybody in this team is responsible for this loss, not just Ryan Presley. But I can tell you, Ryan Presley is just as upset as you are as a fan, if not more. And after my conversation with Joe Record, I'm going to be posting that interview tomorrow We talked about the closer role. We talked about how incredibly microcosmic it is and how everybody has this, what have you done for me lately? And look, I want to know what the split is on life expectancy for fans of baseball, because the way some people react on social media, you would think that they absolutely need a counselor before they go to bed because they're like on the edge of life because of something a player does for their team. Ryan Presley's our guy. Okay. He's going to be there. We'll talk about the bullpen later, but the offense, other than Kyle Tucker and other than a late, hero type hit from Yiner to tie it up, there was nothing doing. And the Nationals, who's down, they just did a job to the Astros offense, who had been really actually heating up lately.
All right. So I did this for our little thumbnail today. I just want to put up there, my bullpen makes me blank. So go ahead and answer that in the chat. But the most obvious, but let's go away from just my bullpen makes me want to drink. What are some clever ways of saying your bullpen drives you crazy sometimes? But if you're looking at the Astros bullpen, granted, this was before today's game where they gave up 4 earned runs, but they are third in baseball with a 3.18 ERA. They only have 17 saves, while you have some teams with like 25 saves or so. Their WHIP is 1.26, which is it's about maybe 10th in baseball. So some of these may be smoke and mirror kind of numbers, but they are getting the job done. Typically, they're kind of up there in terms of strikeouts. I guess they're kind of middle of the pack in strikeouts. But the bullpen, for the most part, is pretty effective at times. We've seen some of the best of times and the worst of times. And recently, Brian Bray has been going through a funk. And now we see Ryan Presley go through a little funk too. And Dusty Baker said after the game on I forgot what day it is, Wednesday, basically said that he agreed that Presley should have gone home to try to get that out there. And so Presley, the Astros won that game, and I'm sure the Nationals think that they should probably won two games in that series after that. I'm sure you talked about Jake Meyers' play, but it just was, there's a lot, it's a lot of frustration because with a team like the Nationals, you expect to play really good, and you just couldn't get any run until the 9th inning.
Right. Well, I mean, if you want positives, they won 2 out of 3.
Right.
They won the series. They could have got, I think, their 5th. It would have been their 5th sweep of the season. They have 4 of them. 2 are against Oakland. The Rangers lost tonight. Perfect opportunity to go within 2.5 games. I don't even know why we mentioned that guy's name, but this game tonight on a third game after you dominate them the previous nights, you're just launching balls out of the ballpark. Jose Abreu's on fire. There's just no reason why. Look, why is Altuve batting second, not lead off? I don't know if that would have made a difference. Myers wasn't in there until late. I would have liked to see him in there. I would have liked to see the lineup constructed a little bit differently tonight, but I don't know if that would have mattered because the Nationals.
Myers started.
Oh, I'm sorry, Myers. Oh, I'm sorry. Was Dubon came in and pinch hit. I think Dubon should have been in there.
Was not started, so I think
that's right. Yeah, Dubon and Diaz. Sorry, I'm going blind here because I don't have the lineup in front of me. But at the end of the day, we have got to just figure out how this offense has to figure out how to be more consistent. Now, I will say this: the umpires tonight, they gave the Astros several. There were 2 strikeouts, I know for sure, that occurred because there were at least 1 or 2 pitches called inside on a right-handed batter that was completely off the plate, not even close. And so there were a few of those batters going down. Yeah, Altuve. There was that Diaz went down on something like that. Bregman went down on something pretty close to that. It was just abysmal behind the plate. But when you're not swinging the bat, Diaz got froze at the end by that fastball down the middle. You hate to see this team who had started heating up do this. But look, at the end of the day, it's all about comfort and it's all about being a championship team. And that's what they are. So I'm going to talk to you about Birddogs. Birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB is where you need to go to get the most comfortable shorts in the world. These are not your typical khaki shorts. These are not your dad's shorts. These are basically high-end shorts. They have this material that is form-fitting. It makes you look great when you walk into your golf match, your board meeting, whatever it is, and they say, hey, you can wear shorts today. Wear those Birddogs. You will be top-notch. Birddogs uses the anti-stink, sweat-wicking fabric that keeps you feeling cool and dry all day long. And every game I've been to this year, I've worn my Birddogs. I've just been more comfortable. I've been more at ease. And it is a really, really good product. You put them in the wash, they don't fade. And right now, they have a special promotion. You go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB. You'll get a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order to bring your coffee or your tea or whatever you got. Take it with you to the golf course, hanging out with your buddies, going out on a date. If you use the promo code LockedOnMLB for your free Yeti-style tumbler, you won't want to take your Birddogs off. We promise. And the Astros play the Reds Friday night. They're coming to town. The Baby Reds, the De La Cruzes, the Hunter Greens, they're here. And to catch every pitch of the Astros hometown broadcast with the Sirius XM, you can go to the SXM app, search Astros Friday night, 7:10 p.m.
All right, so the Astros are now 0-5 on the season, I believe. That's what I heard in extra innings. So this is something that, every team has to deal with the ghost runner. But you would think with the Astros dynamic bullpen that they had last year that they wouldn't be in the situation. But it just seems like for some reason that runner, like that ball forgot who the hitter was, but it was supposed to go foul, but it somehow stayed fair, which allowed the ghost runner to get to third base. And then from there, Lane Thomas got the single or something to allow him to score. Then you had more runners score in the 10th inning. And then Phil Maton gave up the 3 runs in that game, in that inning. So it was just, and then he couldn't throw strikes. He even walked in the batter. Like, when's the last time that he actually walked in a batter? I don't know. It's something about him. He just didn't look like he had his normal command. Maybe he didn't get a strike he liked, or just maybe that ball just going, it was supposed to go foul, but it stayed fair. That just kind of messed him up. But you've got to forget this type thing. But you're saying something about, because I almost said Brad Lidge, but we had Ryan Presley give up a home run on the slider. So you're going to say something about the slider?
Yeah, Presley's giving you PTSD tonight. You're going back to, oh my God, Eric, you kind of made me get a little queasy there. All right. So Presley, he had a pretty amazing whiff rate on his slider and changeup last year. Okay. In 2022, he had a 51.7% whiff rate. Okay. He had a changeup whiff rate of 51.7% on his slider, 57.1% on his changeup. He gave up 30 hits in 2022. Okay. Mm-hmm. This year he's given up 34 hits. His slider is only inducing 37.8% whiff. His changeup has 0% whiff. And his barrel percent is up from 5.8 to 6.8%. 48.1% of the balls that he's throwing that are being hit are being pulled. They are all over his stuff. He is not, I'm not saying something's wrong. I'm not saying he's injured, but there's something mechanic going on. There's something going on with his release. His velocity is not down. I don't think he's fatigued. But his slider is not missing the bats like it was last year. 20-something% difference. And he's already given up more hits this year than he gave up last year. So it is a concern. Now, we're not going to DFA him. So let's have a little baseball lesson. You don't DFA your best. You don't DFA your best closer. You don't trade him.
What about Maton? Can we go DFA him?
No, because Maton's been the man.
I know.
He has been the man. Neris has been the man.
I know.
These guys, we've got one of the best bullpens in all of baseball. We have a recency bias issue. You've got to let these guys make mistakes in a 162 game season. They won the series. Take the good with the bad, but Presley has given up a run in 5 straight outings.
Yeah.
5 straight outings, Eric. And I heard the boos on the radio. It's just not going well for him. He's in a place right now mentally that he's going to have to pull himself out of. And I promise you, the pitching coaches are going to be working overtime to get Presley right, because the second night in a row he came out. Last night he did. Everyone's like, oh, why are you bringing him out there? Like, he's your closer. Who else are you going to bring out there? Some guy goes, Maton. And what did Maton do? He actually did worse. You hate to see him not have success, but this is going to happen. It's the ebb and the flow of the Major League Baseball season.
Yeah, something you can't see if you're listening on Sirius XM is his reaction after the home run. And he basically was like, what am I doing wrong? And he looked like he was totally lost, because he's used to dominating. What did he have, like 27 straight saves or something like that? And
he had one of the longest streaks of not like even giving up a run or something, or save opportunities. And then, I mean, he's blown 4 of his last 6 outings or 7 outings. It's just not looking good right now. I mean,
yeah, he's in a funk, and I'm not worried. I'd rather him be in a funk in June, and then him get out of it July, and then the rest of the year, and be okay in October, because this guy is normally nails. It's frustrating to watch the offense do nothing. And then all of a sudden you have, in support of Christian Javier, before we get to Diaz, let's go and talk about Javier. But Javier just, he didn't have his best stuff today, but he did pitch 6 innings. The Nationals did a great job of working the count on him, and they forced him to throw a lot of pitches. I believe in the first 2 innings, he was already at 30 pitches. And so he ended up throwing 92 pitches in the game. 58 of them were strikes. 6 innings, 5 hits, only 2 strikeouts, like you mentioned earlier. He did not get the win. He did not get the loss. His ERA is down to 2.90. He pitched a great game. It wasn't the dominating game you're used to. Brian Abreu had a good outing. His ERA is still at 1.87. And Neris almost pushed over Abreu because Abreu kind of got in his way, and he's like, get out of my way. I want to make sure this guy doesn't score. And I think he retired runners at second and third with like 1 or 2 outs or something. So it's just there's a lot of great plays in this game, and it's frustrating that one pitch by Presley basically gave them the lead, and then it sets up what happened in the ninth inning, the bottom of ninth inning by Yainer Diaz. But it's just frustrating that the offense just can't do anything. Mackenzie Gore is a good pitcher. He's not a great pitcher, but he's one of those pitchers that sometimes the Astros do struggle against. He lowered his ERA down to 3.74, but they only got 4 hits. They had 3 walks. That's 7 runners on base at least. So there was ways to get them in. It just seemed like they just couldn't get it done.
The Astros should have swept the Nationals. I don't care if they have Nolan Ryan on the mound. The way that they're playing this year, this team should have easily been swept. Had no business going to the 9th inning,
right,
having to tie it up. A 1-run home run, a solo shot. I'm so dumbfounded by this one. I'm talking stupid. A solo shot by Kyber Ruiz, a switch hitting catcher, the once great prospect who has a huge upside, should not be the thing that alters this game. You should have put up 4 or 5 runs. You did the 2 nights before. Mackenzie Gore is no excuse of why you don't do it. But look, sometimes a guy on the mound has just got one over on you. It just doesn't matter. Baseball is going to baseball, Eric. And baseball's a hard game. We expect excellence out of this team. We expected them to win every single game. And when they don't, we get so disappointed. Maton, as good as he's been, was terrible tonight. Presley, as good as he's been through his career here, has been terrible lately. But look, you got to put it back on the offense. It's not Dusty's lineup. It's not even, I wanted, this guy starting over that guy. It's not that. It's going to happen. Now, the problem, the Reds are coming to town. They've won 5 in a row. Yeah. They've got some young stars. They got some fire-breathing flame throwing pitchers that, man, this Reds team is kind of scary coming in here. You hope that you can take that momentum they have and put it to screeching halt.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. We'll also talk about what Dana Brown had to say about Hunter Brown, about limiting his innings at some point. We'll talk a little bit about the Vegas A's. And then I went through all Dusty Baker's comments from this week, and I have the best of thoughts by Dusty. We'll have that in a second. So this episode is brought to you by FanDuel.
That's right. FanDuel is the number one sportsbook place to go. Look, I'm just telling you right now, these guys have this amazing offer. You would think if you lost a bet, you would just lose money, right? Well, now with FanDuel, they have a really cool thing. If you're a new customer with them, you get a no sweat first bet, and you get up to $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So if you bet the over on runs for the Astros tonight, or that the Astros would hit more home runs, or you put a parlay together and, Javier with 6 strikeouts and all this stuff, and then you lost, you would have gotten $2,500 back in bonus bets. That's right. Great promotions every single day. Safe and secure app. I mean, you don't have to worry about your identity and all that stuff. Like they secure it. You get paid instantly. You don't have to wait a week or a month or wonder where it's coming from. There's no better place to bet on all the action of Major League Baseball. Whatever playoffs are going on, they have it. It's America's number one sports book. So FanDuel.com/locked-on, no sweat first bet, $2,500 back, and bonus bets. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And look, if you and your buddies need a place to hang out and watch the Astros, go watch them at your local Hooters. From Sugarland to Pearland, from Katy to Kemah, all the way out to Galveston. Okay. What are you doing? Okay. You have. All right. I'm going to restart this. Do you and your buddies need a place to hang out and watch the Astros continue to dominate the competition, not like tonight? Then go to your local area Hooters. It is a great place to go and hang out, and you get to hang out with the world-famous Hooters girls. They have service that's second to none. The food is excellent. Eric and I love going there. If you go out there from Monday through Friday, they have happy hour from 2 to 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. to close anytime. $3 Blue Moon drafts in $9.99. Michelob Ultra pitchers, no matter the occasion. Hooters is ready to make you happy. If you go out to Pearland on the 24th of June, they're having a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Grab your buddies, go hang out. From Webster to Seabrook, from Pasadena to Pearland, Baytown, Galveston, Stafford, Humboldt, Katy, and Sugarland, anywhere in Houston, go check them out today. Hooters is the place to be. And the Astros play the Reds Friday night, 7:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Catch every pitch of the Astros hometown broadcast with SiriusXM with the SXM app. Search Astros.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what Dana Brown had to say about Hunter Brown. And so last year, he pitched 131 innings. I think his previous high was 134. And so Dana Brown was asked about this, and he said that there are some ways we can minimize some of the innings, which is what we're going to do. But he looks really healthy. I mean, he's throwing up to 97 miles per hour, and he looks like he's going to post as be able to post as a workhorse. So hopefully he can continue, and we'll monitor some things. But then they'll say that there's ways that they can go ahead and maybe work him in as a maybe skip a start, or maybe go ahead and go back to 6-man rotation at some point. But what we've seen is actually the Astros are going to go with JP France, Brandon Bielak, and Ronel Blanco in the start. And so they're actually going to skip him. So Hunter Brown is fine, but they're going to go ahead and give him a little bit of time in between starts, because this is something that I predicted is going to happen. You could have brought Hunter Brown out in the 6th inning, and instead you kind of let him pitch that 7th inning, which is fine, but you want to save some innings for October. And so hopefully the Astros get there. But I think what the Astros are doing is they want to keep Ronel Blanco stretched out, but at the same time, you want to save the inning. So what are your thoughts, Brett?
Well, my thing is, it all depends. It literally is going to have to be inning by inning, game by game, because you can have a guy pitch 7 innings and you have 5 like stress-free innings, like 5 innings where you have 3 up, 3 down, right? Mm-hmm. Or you can have 7 innings where you give up 2 or 3 hits, like you get an out, you give up 2 or 3 hits, you get another out, and it's an extended period of time. There's a lot of stress. There's mound visits. So the mental grind, the physical grind, it all depends. So that's really up to the game planning, and that's up to Hunter to go out there and actually put the ball where he needs to put it to miss bats so that he can go 6 or 7 innings and it not have that negative effect. And so I think there's something to that too. Yeah, I think they deploy the 6-man rotation at some point to save arms. Look, every once in a while, a guy goes on the 10-day IL. He has shoulder soreness, elbow soreness. They do that sometimes to help a guy rest. Every major league team does it. It's not a mystery. I'm not, opening the veil on the Wizard of Oz and revealing some secret that people don't know about. But this is what happens in the lengthy 162 game season. It's all about load management. They are literally keeping up with physical metrics of every player.
Right.
And we criticize off days. We criticize this stuff, but they've got people telling them this guy needs to sit, this guy needs to go, this guy needs to do this. And that's what they're relying on, those things. So I trust those stat heads and those guys that do that with the clubs, especially with the Astros. I think they'll figure out a way how to do it. Ronell maybe steps in and gets a start here or there, a spot start. And there's a bunch of different ways. And if they feel like this could be a big issue and they do need another horse, there are some pitchers out there that they could possibly go get that they might be looking at the trade deadline.
Right.
Thoughts by Dusty.
All right, so we're going to start doing this every Friday. We're going to have the best of Dusty Baker's comments. So happy birthday, Dusty Baker, by the way. He turned 74, and he had this comment today. A lot of people don't make it to 74, and I didn't know if I was going to make it years ago. Now I'm working on 75. So, and on the rule that the Nationals manager Martinez did not appreciate at the end to end Wednesday's game, this is what he had to say. That's a tough rule to run inside that line, and then you've got to eventually come back over the back. How many people can walk straight, much less run straight? I'm just glad it worked in our favor. There are enough video reviews. You've got to leave some of it for interpretation by umpires, or else you don't need the umpires.
Eric, hold on, Eric. That's great. Like, Eric, come on. Do you really walk straight? Do you really run straight? I mean, really? Like, okay, go ahead.
Right.
Sorry.
And so Dusty Baker on why Jeremy Pena did not play in that one game. He said, I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. I know what to do. And I know how to take care of guys because I've been there. And then also he had to say about Dusty Baker did say that Ryan Presley made the right decision to throw home. And I know we've already kind of talked about this. Jordan's a ways off, and we have to carry on until he comes back. No duh. He's going to be out 4 weeks, Dusty Baker. Thank you for telling us. But this is a little thought by Dana Brown on his conversations he has with Dusty Baker. Dusty has his thoughts and opinions. I have my opinion. We discuss them, but at the end of the day, it's a long season, and it all work out in the end. And I do have one more quote from today's game.
Okay.
Chana Rome asked, did you consider letting Myers hit and saving Dubon for the 10th inning? He said, no. I had already told him he was going to hit. Dubon's one of our better hitters. I didn't consider that, especially after the guy that was out there. I thought that Dubon had a good chance of hitting him. So basically, he hit Dubon there because he already told him he was going to hit.
So what you're saying is there's a plan.
Yes.
And you cannot deviate from that plan. Okay, this is what I learned tonight from Dusty. You cannot deviate from your plan. If you have it in your gut, you got to do it. Also, who walks straight and who runs straight? Who does that? I mean,
honestly, who throws a shoe?
Dusty sounds like Dusty sounds like a defense attorney for like a DWI case. Like, oh, but you're gonna judge who walks straight. I mean, who walks in a straight line? I mean, this is great. I love it. Thanks for this final segment, Eric. We all needed a chuckle. We all needed a laugh. And you know what? Look, I know a lot of people. He's whatever. People love Dusty or they hate him. I don't know how you can hate the guy. The guy's out there. He's 74. Congratulations, man. And hey, I don't even know if I'm going to make 74. But, dude, if I am, I hope I'm as happy-go-lucky as this guy. I saw the dude, every game he gives away wristbands to kids. He finds a kid in the crowd, calls him over the dugout, hands him wristbands. And he only gives them to children. Really cool.
Right. So tomorrow's game, it's going to be the Reds versus the Astros. It's going to be Andrew Abbott, who's 2-0 with a 0 ERA with 10 strikeouts versus JP France, 2-1 with a 3.54 ERA, 35 strikeouts. And this is the first matchup that you literally have not seen any of the hitters face the pitcher because they're both young pitchers. So this is going to be an interesting matchup because you have Ellie De La Cruz there, and then you have McLean, not John McLean, but this is Matt McLean. So he's been having a great season, batting .328 with 3 home runs and 13 RBIs. He's a shortstop. He's only 23 years old. And the Reds haven't even called up one of their better prospects either. So they have a team that if they continue playing well, they can end up their game below 500. So that's kind of a scary prospect because the Astros tend to, I don't know, they're kind of at 500 right now. So I don't know how they're.
Well, I think the Astros tend to do. I mean, they handled the Rays, and the Rays are still killing everybody else.
Right.
Look, I think every series the Astros go into, it's winnable. And I don't just say that because we're locked on Astros. I say that because they literally have the horses in the stable to do it every night. But I mean, you're going against Jonathan India. You're going against this Ellie De La Cruz. This kid is phenomenal. He is a firebrand. I'm telling you, Diaz better get a start or two behind the plate because I would love to see Diaz throw out De La Cruz. I would love to see that. But Dusty's probably going to Dusty, and he probably won't play him as starting catcher. He loves him at DH. Anyways, hey, Eric, this has been a great show, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think next time, look, to everybody in Oakland, we hate the fact that you're losing your team. We hate the fact
a lot
that
of drama out there too.
I mean, dude, no, the owner is terrible. He has run that team into the ground, and those Oakland A's fans deserve better. I hope they give y'all an expansion team. Y'all deserve it. So this is H-Town Wheelhouse. He is Eric Huysman. We are the Locked On Astros podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out, and make sure that you tell your friends and family about us, and come back every night. The Astros play the Reds. Oh, go ahead.
The Astros play the Reds Friday night at 7:10 p.m. Catch every pitch of the Astros hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app and search Astros. And it's funny to hear Rob Manfred calling out A's fans. We're like, okay, so y'all showed up during a reverse boycott, but that's an average attendance for most other teams. So try harder. And so, but the A's are going to Vegas, baby. A's are going to Vegas, and that's all we got for this edition of Locked On Astros podcast. And we will see you later, and go Astros.